today I got 5 future movies that I pretty much just made them up, and the CGC 9.8s to match. But I do want to forego some of the movies that are a little bit more expected, I think, like MCU X-Men movies, and like Deadpool 3 even has been confirmed. And even like a Star Wars movie or show, like people are expecting that, and the Ahsoka Tano show is coming. So let's have a look at a few other movie ideas here. So first book up, great to always check in with this one. Yeah, An Ultimate Fallout 4 in the CGC 9.8. First appearance of Miles Morales, new Spider-Man. I think a really good bet in the next 5 years is that there's going to be a live-action Miles Morales movie or something like that. I think it would be a huge hit. And certainly there's already been Into the Spider-Verse, and there's another Into the Spider-Verse coming. This book's done really well, and for good reason, though. This has always been, especially in the CGC 9.8, like a pretty special modern comic book. You get that big first full appearance, and it looks pretty great on the census, especially in the CGC 9.8. So 2,544 9.8s in the blue label. This is like the most popular modern comic book. So you got it, like that seems like a lot, but then when you have that context, it's not as much. 2,544. Not too bad in the first print here. 28.5%, the 9.8 ratio. That's what I really like about this book. You don't see under 30% 9.8 ratios in the modern age very much at all. Combine it with the first big full appearance of Miles Morales. I always said this one kind of had the potential to lead the 9.8 modern age market for like a lot of these big key issues because it's got the lowest 9.8 ratio. Big first appearance of Miles Morales. And that's kind of what has happened in the last 6 to 12 months. So let's have a look at a few recent auction prices. In the first print, Ultimate Fallout 4, $2,958 one went for, another one went for $2,800 even, both in auctions. There were a few that went over $3,000 on this one, like just about 2-3 months ago it was. This one was about $1,500. It had sort of been creeping up, and then all of a sudden just really exploded to about $3,000. And there were a few that went over $3,000. I really said to be patient at that point. This is a modern comic book. There's 2,544 of them in the 9.8. I don't think you want to pay over $3,000 US dollars for one. Now they're starting to pull back, so certainly, better time to buy now, under $3,000 rather than over $3,000. So yeah, Ultimate Fallout 4, I think that movie will be made, and there's just a lot of potential from a lot of angles. A great collector item in the 9.8. Have a look at mine here really quick. Got one in the first print, luckily. And I was looking back on some of the videos I did for Ultimate Fallout 4, and literally, I think it was like on the first or second video when I bought this one, I was like, this is a really good candidate to maybe get out there and buy like 5 or 6 of them in the 9.8. I literally said that on one of these videos, and I should have took my own advice. I only bought one, wish I bought a few others. But I bought mine just under $400. And that was in November of 2019. Now they're about $3,000. It just gives you an idea. That's how far the market has come here with coronavirus and everything. All right, next one here. I'll talk about a Marvel Spotlight version 2, number 6 in the 9.8. This is first comic book appearance of Star-Lord, and I really think a pretty cool movie would be like a Star-Lord spin-off after they wrap up this last Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I'm pretty sure it's going to be. So, they've done the Captain America standalone movies and that, like the event spinning off from the Avengers. I think didn't the Captain America movie come first, maybe? But regardless, I think a Star-Lord alone movie would be really cool. And the actor does a really good job, I think, as Star-Lord. What's his name? Chris Pratt, I think. Yeah, I think he does a good job, and certainly he can hold down a movie. And this one in the 9.8 is a really cool collector item. 90 CGC 9.8s for Marvel Spotlight version 2, number 6. First comic book appearance of Star-Lord. 16.9%, the 9.8 percentage. Not too bad. You want to consider for this one, too. It's a Marvel Preview, number 4. The overall first appearance of Star-Lord in a magazine in the mid-70s. That one is still semi-affordable in the 9.8. Yeah, I've been, I've saw a few pop up from time to time and kind of have been tempted. It's a great investment-grade book. It is the first appearance of Star-Lord. It's probably, if you're the biggest Star-Lord fan, go after a Marvel Preview, number 4. Marvel Spotlight version 2, number 6, though, in the 9.8, maybe it's a great one, but a little bit more affordable of an alternative. I think Marvel Preview number 4 in the 9.8 is over $2,000 now. Where Marvel Spotlight version 2, number 6, 9.8, seeing a price here in an auction, $597.42. Yeah, and I remember one selling for $5.99 and kind of a buy now a month or two ago. We documented on some of these videos. So yeah, right around 600, looking like the fair value. I do have one of these, a Marvel Spotlight. Version 2, number 6. First comic book appearance of Star-Lord. Yeah, great cover too on this one. Probably a better cover than his first appearance in that magazine, I would say. So super collectible. Under 600, I think is making sense right now. I have been saying for like a year and a half, it seems, that now's kind of the time to buy the Guardians of the Galaxy ones before that Part 3 movie comes out, and a lot of these will kind of heat up. They already have, but I think they still got some room to heat up. So, and a Star-Lord movie, I think would be cool. And it would be really easy for Disney to do, I think, you know, if they just wanted to continue doing Guardians of the Galaxy movies without, you know, doing Part 4, Part 5, they just change them to Star-Lord and have a bit of a different vibe about them, maybe. Or you probably want the same vibe, but, you know, just something different, I guess. So maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't. Pretty cool collector item, though. Marvel Spotlight, version 2, number 6, in the 9.8. All right, next one is a Spawn number 1 in the newsstand edition. I like to recommend for Spawn number 1. CGC 9.8, such a cool one. First appearance of Spawn, super nostalgic cover for me, certainly. Growing up in the 90s, collecting comic books as a kid. Love Spawn number 1. You know, pretty much since I've gotten back into collecting comics in the last 3 or 4 years here, there's been like off and on rumors of a Spawn movie, like it's in production, Jamie Foxx is Spawn, it's happening. And then things just really cool down and it, you know, there's no real rumors or any, you know, spy shots of actual production, so the rumors have sort of gone away. But I think a Spawn movie, if done really well, would be a huge hit. And it's got that ultimate potential, I think. Like, Spawn came out in 1992. That was like the peak of comic book popularity. So I think a Spawn movie comes out and it looks awesome. All these Spawn fans just come out of nowhere because, you know, like me, a lot of people are just nostalgic for Spawn and probably really will give a Spawn movie a chance and want it to be really good. So in the newsstand, Spawn number 1, such a great collector item. In the 9.8 with the newsstand distribution with Image Comics. A lot of people say like for every 100 copies printed, one of them was a newsstand edition. Whereas usually with Marvel around this time, it was maybe like 10 to 20% of all copies were newsstand. So Image Comics, the newsstands are even more rare. So the more rarer version of Spawn number 1 newsstand makes a lot of sense. In the 9.8, the newsstands and the directs all clumped together. There's a 6,939 9.8s in the blue label. Yeah, there's a lot of these in the 9.8. There was like 1.7 or 8 million Spawn number 1s printed, so one of the more printed books of all time. 52.1% to 9.8 ratio. So what I like to do, take that 6,939 and take 5% of that. That gives you 347 approximately. That's about a guesstimate of how many Spawn newsstands CGC 9.8s there are out there, because you don't really know. They don't separate it on the census. So if we have a look at 9.8 prices in the newsstand version, $1,076, $1,175. So I think, yeah, anywhere closer to 1,000 in the Spawn 1 newsstand, looking really good in the 9.8, I think is a pretty great buy right now. And hopefully they come out with a Spawn movie sooner or later. Absolutely. Okay, next one here. A great modern. Champions number 1 from 2016. Yeah, we've touched on this one. So, like, just covering all my Miles Morales bases here. I think if they don't come out with, like, a live-action Miles Morales movie, they could bring in Miles Morales in the Champions. So he would, like, a live-action Champions movie, possibly. And I think that kind of makes sense in a world where, you know, they could do the Champions Miles Morales movies and then still have, like, Tom Holland Spider-Man movies and not really mess with that brand in any way. And, you know, do the Champions movies, introduce Miles Morales as a live action. So it's a possibility, a long shot. But this one's come from, yeah, one I really liked as sort of a modern speculation. We had made a few videos maybe 3 or 4 months ago for Champions number 1 in the 9.8. And I've grabbed, I think it was like 6 raw copies of Champions number 1. I just kind of, when I thought of the idea, I grabbed all the ones I could in Canada, pretty much for cheap shipping. So Champions number 1 in the 9.8 though. There's 39 9.8s now. That's cool. There were single digits when I first made a video recommending it as a cool spec. And Champions number 1 here from 2016. It is the first appearance of the new Champions, which is like Miles Morales and Totally Awesome Hulk and Vision and Captain Marvel, Kamala Khan. So kind of the new Avengers almost is how I sort of think of them. And certainly got the big Miles Morales character, I think, as the the lead protagonist, I guess. 88.6%, the 9.8 ratio on this one. But yeah, there's going to be a lot more of these out there. This is going to be one where more and more and more are going to become graded. It is a Marvel comic, so it's not going to be like super low printed or anything. So you can kind of be patient on this one because a recent auction in the first print too. I do like the first print. There's a lot of other variants and everything like that, but I kind of think the eye appeal of the first print is the best, so I would probably go after the first print, and that's the one I like the best. In the first print, Champions 1 9.8 selling for $386. Yeah, I think this auction ended like 3 or 4 days ago. A few people on the team had let me know, like, this one kind of, when we first recommended it, there was an auction that went for $125, and then I think I made another video too, and the next one was like $200, and I hadn't really made too many videos on this lately, but now they're like $375, I think someone on the team said, and then for myself, looking this morning, seeing one for $386. So this one's come a long way. I think a lot more are going to become graded in the 9.8. Maybe you want to be patient, sort of aim closer to $300 on this one in the 9.8, but I could see the potential. I could see why people are a bit excited, and Miles Morales leading this, I think there's some potential there. Maybe they make a Champions movie would be the ultimate potential, but it's just a cool one to have in the modern age, if not. Okay, last one here is I forgot to show my Spawn 1 newsstand. Is Batman Beyond #1. Oh, we'll get a graphic up and then I'll show mine off at the end. So Batman Beyond #1, I think I've been saying they should make a Batman Beyond movie for a really long time. It would be really cool. And last year, I think a big part of why Batman Beyond 1 really heated up, certainly in the 9.8, is there were a lot of rumors, like Michael Keaton's going to be the old Bruce Wayne in a new Batman Beyond movie. And there was that DC fandom event or whatever. And there was a lot of rumors getting up to that, but nothing really happened. As far as like any confirmation of a Batman Beyond movie, but I think the rumors will continue. I think it is a really awesome idea. Batman Beyond movie would look so good. Batman Beyond's kind of got the rockets in his shoes, so they could sort of make him like an Iron Man, rocketing around and, talking to Bruce Wayne in the sort of Jarvis-looking Iron Man type of, film shots, I guess. So I could just imagine a Batman Beyond movie being so good. Batman Beyond #1 was keeping an eye on that recent auction, and one had sold for kind of a pretty affordable price for, what they were selling for recently. We'll get into that in a sec. $291 though, 9.8s in the blue label. So a 1 of 291 for kind of the first new Batman, and this one coming out in 1999 was pretty much like the comic book recession, so printing was pretty low during that time. So yeah, I always say this one, for like the popularity of a Batman Beyond, there should be like 700 or 800 of these in the 9.8. If this was like a normally printed kind of, not, came out in like the early 90s or something, there would be like thousands of these probably. But so it's a special one for that reason. Yeah, great collector item in the 9.8. And 32% the 9.8 ratio. Not bad at all for a modern. Are getting into the moderns. This one $19.99. So getting into that price, I saw one recently sell just the last day or two, this auction ending on eBay for $2,125. I was watching this one, and we mentioned it on a video where we talked, I think it was the pricing video we recently did. Batman Beyond sold for $2,716 in the 9.8. Yeah, getting up to $3,000 seems a little bit expensive for a lot of these moderns. Kind of really glad to see it actually pull back a little. I think it's a healthy action, seeing one sell for $2,125. And there was one that I kind of sold maybe 2 months ago or so for $2,300 on eBay in an auction. So closer to $2,000, I think, for Batman Beyond #1. It's a really great collector item. It is expensive for a modern book, but certainly better than paying like $2,700. I think some went right around $3,000. I'm pretty sure this one really heated up. In the last kind of 2 to 4 to 6 months, it's heated up off and on. $2,125, all things considered, pretty great value for Batman Beyond #1 in the first print, CGC 9.8. Have a look here. Yeah, and the Batman Beyond 1 here, they have those origin issues and the Six Flags issues. Those are less expensive in the 9.8 and less collected. You do kind of just want to get the one with in the first print with the barcode, which is most wanted by collectors. And yeah, as a big Batman Beyond fan, I never really considered the origin issues or the Six Flags issues. It's just this will be a lot easier to sell, and it is the one that the market likes the best. Certainly quite expensive. They should absolutely make a Batman Beyond movie. I think it would be a big hit. And certainly all Batman movies are usually big hits, but a different take on a Batman movie I think would just be so well received. Okay, so yeah, you know what, team? I think having a good idea of some of the movies coming out, certainly I mentioned at the beginning, if you do want to speculate on some of these movies like MCU X-Men, Deadpool 3, some of the Star Wars content that's going to be coming up. And then I think these 5 CGC 9.8s are kind of good bets. And if not, they're pretty great collector items as well in the 9.8, which is always great. All right, team, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Hey team, if you're liking this content, please subscribe and hit that bell, and I'll keep you updated on future videos.